The World Wide Web are you on this mighty fine day? I'm so happy to be here. I'm Kevin Colby with KevinColby.com and also Kevin Colby Media. I know it's kind of redundant, but it's my name. I keep joking. The reason I call my business Kevin Colby Media is because I figure I can always remember that name. So I am so glad you are here today. And of course, this is Behind the Live, powered by Ecamm Live, one of the best ways to go live streaming on a Mac, and I'm a Mac guy. If you want to try out Ecamm Live, there is a link in the description. You can try it out for, you ready for this? 14 days. 2 weeks, 14 days. You figure it out. It's kind of the same thing. No credit card, and you can just play with it. So, hey, today we're doing something kind of fun. Maybe. We'll see. And it's about things you need to be thinking about before you go live. Now, I've been live streaming for quite a while. I've been in the business for quite a while. And I gotta tell you, even still, right before I go live, there's always that little knot. It's probably not a knot. I had a cheese sandwich. I'm not sure what that is, but there's always that. There's something about live that is just completely different than taped or produced. I mean, I love both, but there's just something about live. It's a great way to engage with your audience in real time. Now, if you are watching this live or even on the replay, drop a comment, say hey, tell us where you're from, and if you've got a question, ask it. Especially about today, since we're talking about getting ready for your live stream. And if you have a question, put a Q by it. That way we can see it. Queen Bee's in the house. Cheese sandwich. But today I'm really excited about this because, you know, I don't want to pretend with anybody. There are a lot of things that can go right with a live stream, and there are things that can go wrong with a live stream. So I'm going to share with you 7 things today that you ought to be considering to do before your live stream. Now, these aren't things I just Googled and figured out. These are things I do. And I'll just tell you right now, if you're interested, I've put together a bigger live stream checklist. There's a link in the description. You can download it totally free, and I'd love to give it to you, and that link is down there. And the things I'm talking about today is actually maybe a bonus one or two that I'm not mentioning today, but you know, I didn't want this to go forever. But that's what we're talking about today. So I hope it brings some value to you. And by the way, if at any point you have a tip about live streaming and getting ready to live stream, that's what we're talking about today, getting ready. This is the cue for getting ready. Then share your tip in the comments below, because I think it just makes us, you know, a stronger community when we are sharing. Already got some folks saying, yeah, Queen Bee, Jersey girl. That's as close as I can get to Jersey. Dale and Artie, oh yeah, I use Ecamm Live for my crafting channel. That's really cool. We got Kurt from Ashburn, Virginia, not too far from me. And Somcast, oh, look at this, regards from Brazil. That's really cool. You know, and I've said this before, this is one of the things that I love about the interweb, and especially about YouTube, is that you can connect with folks from all over. So today we're talking about making sure you're ready to go live on Behind the Live. I love that. And again, if we haven't met, I'm Kevin Colby, and on my channel, I like to share tips and tutorials and strategies to help you get into and grow with video so you can share your gifts with the world. So that's why I would love to have it if you would subscribe to my channel, and always just drop me a note. I answer every comment. And if you have an idea for a video or something like that, that'd be great. And since we multicast this show through the magic and the technology of the interweb, we're live on Ecamm's channel and my channel. Go ahead and just subscribe to both. We've got some other folks popping in. Pattywhack Arts, from the UK. I love that. See, I almost did my UK impression, which I've been told doesn't sound anything like that. So yeah, that's really, really cool. So yeah, one of so Ecamm is even saying, yeah, one of the things on our checklist is creating all of our scenes so we have a run of show all set for the time we go. That's a great tip. I tell you what, I'm actually gonna let me add that one to the broadcast. That is a great tip. The tips I'm going to show you today, again, the checklist. These are things I do to make sure it's ready. So yeah, so like I mentioned, today we're talking about live stream checklist. A bunch of things. I'm actually going to mention 7 today that I really think you ought to consider to make sure you have the best shot at having the best live stream. Now again, I just want to stress, you can do everything in the world. You can do everything that I'm mentioning. And remember, if you want to get a copy of the checklist, I've got one for free. There's a link in the description, and just follow the link, and you'll get a copy of it. Things will happen. Things will just happen. Internets can go down. I even pay extra for faster speed. Sometimes I think I get it. Sometimes I don't. Computers can go crazy. People get sick. I mean, things happen. I recently hit 2,000 subscribers, and I was going to do a big live stream about it, celebration on this past Saturday, and our dog got sick. It happens, right? Well, all the planning in the world didn't prevent that, so that's why I moved it to Tuesday. By the way, speaking of the 2,000 subscribers, I'm actually giving away a Switch Pod. Let me show you this. Are you familiar with a Switch Pod? This is a Switch Pod, and it was made by creators for creatives. So Pat Flynn and Caleb, and I can't ever pronounce Caleb's last name. I'm not going to try. Incredible creative. They created this thing, and if you've never seen it, look at this. Now, by the way, the one I'm giving away is not this one, and it doesn't have the phone with it. That's my new iPhone. But check this out. Is that not the coolest thing? And it's sturdy, so it's not going to go anywhere. And it's even got little holes right here that you can attach more things to. So if you would like a shot at winning a Switch Pod, I'm giving this away because I hit 2,000 subs, and the super cool folks at SwitchPod decided to let me have one to give away. I'd love to give it away. The contest will go through Tuesday, I think, and then I'll announce the winner on Wednesday. So, Dell and Artie, congrats on the subs. I appreciate that. So let's get into what we're talking about today about a live stream checklist. And again, these are things I do before every live stream. You ready? Here we go. By the way, if you have any questions, let me know. Tip number 1. Let me slide over just a little. Don't install updates before you go live. Now, I'm not saying don't ever install updates. And I know there's a lot of concerns out there now about Big Sur? Big Sur. I think I'm still on Catalina. I do have a new MacBook Pro with M1 ordered. And I know Glenn and Ken and the cool folks at Ecamm, they've been testing it, and they're like, yeah, man, it's smoking. I mean, smoking in a good way, not like, it's on fire. It'd be bad. But the worst thing I think you can do is install an update, before you go. So what would I recommend? If you have to, now, here's another bonus tip. Even on my phone, I usually keep it over here. Even on my phone, I don't have auto updates turned on. I always want to make sure that I'm saying, yeah, go ahead and update that. Go ahead and update that. Yeah, I'm cool with that. Whether it's an app, whether it's the operating system, because things can break. So this would apply for everything. So like one of the cool things about Ecamm is that they're always adding things. They're always updating things. Sometimes they're bug fixes. Sometimes they're cool features, like the interview feature that was released like a month or so ago. And we know there's more things coming. Well, if you install that right before a live stream, it may accidentally break something. Now, you can go back and fix it. But if you imagine that, all of a sudden you're minutes away, maybe less than an hour from your live stream, and you install an update, it can really screw something up. And I've had that happen. So I have a rule of thumb. I will never install an update the day of a live stream. Now you may go, well, Kevin, because that's my name, that's kind of extreme. Well, that's what it works for me. Again, not guaranteeing that your computer won't just go, hey, I'm a computer, don't work today. That happens. But if I have any updates, I do it the day before. So that's a tip. That's a tip I would share. And by the way, if you have any tips, drop them in the comments below, whether you're watching live or later. We'd love to hear how you get ready to go live. All right, tip number 2, run a program called Clean My Mac. Now, if you've never heard of this program, it is my go-to for a lot of different things. It is a paid app. I think it runs like $34 a year for one computer. So I actually have Clean My Mac on my iMac and my MacBook Pro. It doesn't work on phones and tablets and things like that. But it is such a cool program, and there's a link down in the description for that too. It's an affiliate link. But here's what I did. I ran a test. Let me show you this. So I'm going to show you a test I ran. This was from last night, but I also ran one again today, right? So this right here is a screen capture of real time. So when you launch it, it has this smart scan, and what it's doing is cleaning up just junk I don't need. It's making sure that I don't have any like malware, things like that. And then it's going to double check the speed. Now again, this is in real time. I didn't speed any of this up, and you see it's going through everything, and it'll do a lot more. I mean, you can go in and you can uninstall programs, you can shred files, and then I tell it to run. Now watch this. You can see it. It's going to empty the trash bins. It's going to clean up the junk. It's going to run any maintenance scripts. It's going to flush the DNS cache, and then it's going to free up the RAM. Because sometimes programs, that run on your computer, Ecamm, Final Cut Pro. Ugh. Final Cut Pro, look, I said that like I hate it. I love Final Cut Pro, but it's a RAM hog. And so what I'll do is I'll run Clean My Mac sometimes, and then you get this report, and then I close that. But you'll see, and it'll tell you everything you've done. Now that's called a smart scan on Clean My Mac. And again, it's not a free program, but I get asked all the time, Kevin, do you think this is like a must-have program? For me, it is. It is. I think there are tools that you could use, and then there's some that I think are a must-have. I think Stream Deck, it's not on the list. I think Stream Deck is a must-have because I use it even when I'm not streaming. But that's how I'm doing things like changing the scenes and stuff like that. And we actually talked about that in some other Behind the Live shows. Clean My Mac. So what I do is, before I go live, I always run Clean My Mac. So even though I ran that demo you saw was from last night, I ran it again today. And what that does is it just cleans like junk and crap off my computer, and it gives me, what did they used to say in Star Trek, we need all power to the bridge. Something like that. I don't think they did that. I think it was like, make it so. So that's it. Hey, Doc Rock's in the house. Aloha. Had a great session last night with Doc and some folks from TubeBuddy. Another great one. Paddywhack Art saying running Clean My Mac right now. Right now. Now, I wouldn't recommend running it when you're live streaming. He's not. But again, I think it's one of those things that I would highly, highly recommend. All right, let's go into tip 3. Use an AC power supply, or as I like to call it, dummy battery. Now, this is also kind of falls into that gear thing. And you may go, well, Kevin, why? Why? Here's why, speaking from experience. Whether you live stream on a phone or a camera, it will drain your battery faster. And I was live streaming. I used to live stream without a dummy battery because I guess you could say I'm a dummy. Where's the rim shot? Should have rim shot. But what happened is I looked up and my battery was like at 60% or something like that before I started. And I thought, I got enough. Before the live stream was over, what happened? I froze because the camera died. It freezes the signal. So then thankfully, I switched to my webcam, which is a hack I have. Always have a second camera ready. Even if it's your FaceTime, have something ready, right? So what I would recommend is always make sure you have an alternative power supply, especially if you're going with like a DSLR or mirrorless. I use a Canon M6 Mark II. It's got a dummy battery into it. It's plugged into power. I turn the camera on. It works. And now a little bonus tip about that would also make sure that the plugs are attached, because the worst thing you want is like, because sometimes these plugs can cables can kind of come out. Just, make sure it's tight. I mean, if you want to use duct tape, there's things like that. But I'm telling you, that will save you. All right, tip number 4. You ready? Are we on tip 4? I think we're on tip 4. Double check your camera and mic inputs. Now, there are some programs that will remember the last camera and mic you used. I think Zoom does that. My wife is doing a Bible study with a bunch of ladies, and so I said, hey, why don't you just use my setup, because it's really nice. Impress the other ladies. And one night she went to get on, and she goes, I can't, the camera's not working, because she just uses the webcam. And I'm like, what? Well, it remembered my setting from my cam link. Actually, I think it actually remembered it from the Ecamm virtual cam. But other programs will do that. And so you may not be using the camera you want to. It even gets worse. Some programs will revert. Hello, I speak for a living. Some programs will revert to the internal mic. Now, right now, I'm going to show you, I'm going to let you hear an audio difference. You ready? Now, right now, I use a mic. I'm using my Rode video mic NTG. It's the really cool boom mic that can also go on your camera. It's right here. It's just above the camera frame. But I'm going to go to the mic. Can you even hear it? Did you notice the difference? Drop a comment if you noticed a difference. And I've had this happen before where I launched and I did a whole interview with somebody and I sounded like I was using one of those tin cans with a string. It's just horrible. So that's why, and there's a lot of programs out here where it's not as sophisticated as Ecamm, but I would add it to my checklist before you go live. Just double check your camera and double check your mic and see what the inputs are. Tip number 5. Put your phone on silent. There's nothing worse. Let's say you happen to score an interview with Elon Musk and it's going well, and you lean in and you say, Elon, or Mr. Musk, whatever you would call him, let me know what the next big thing you're going to create is. Like, what do you think will change the world? And he says, and your phone rings. That's something that is very simple to do, but if you, like right now, mine is here, it's on the switch pod. And by the way, remember, we're giving a switch pod away. But my phone is on silent. Now, there's other tips in the guide if you want to download it. Remember, there's a link in the description to that. About if you stream with your iPhone. But I think it's just a good rule of thumb. I usually keep my phone over to my left when I'm live streaming, but I would always make sure your phone is on silent just so it doesn't interrupt. Patty Waggar is saying, I'm a musician. Let me see. Do I know to? Oh yeah, Ellie Miller. Huge difference. She's talking about the difference in the mic. Yeah, it's crazy, and that's why you don't want to go through an entire interview and then realize, dang it, I had the audio. Now it may be something you can fix in post, but why go to that? Tip number 6: charge anything that runs on batteries. Now you may go, but Kevin, you said run like a dummy battery on your thing. Right. And I'm not, trust me, and here's the thing, guys. These like, I call them dummy batteries. They're AC power supplies, and they don't all they fit different cameras. So the one I have in my M6 is completely different than the one I have for my M50. So if you go to Amazon and you search it, make sure it's one made for your camera. All it does is just go in the battery slot. Here's what I mean. I use a wireless mouse and wireless keyboard for my computer. So what do? My rule of thumb is the night before, I see what the charge is. It's very simple. You can go up to the bar up on your screen and see. In fact, even the day of, I'll double check it. Because the worst thing you want, in fact, tell me if this has ever happened to you. Have you ever been on your computer and like the mouse dies? And it's like, it's the most helpless feeling in the world. It's like, I can't close this screen. I can't get off. Yeah, in fact, I think the first time it ever happened to me, I just powered the whole computer off. What a dork. But I did. Of course, it came back on and the battery was still dead. Now, if you use a wired mouse or something like that, I think that's phenomenal. But again, I go wireless with a lot of things. So if you were even using there's a way to use the Rode Wireless Go as a mic with your computer. Well, hey, those things have to be charged up. So anything that has batteries, just a great rule of thumb is make sure it's charged up to begin with. All right, ready for this? Tip number 7, promote your live stream. Now, what the heck has that got to do with a checklist to do before you go live? I think I just answered it. Seriously, I saw somebody ask this question the other day in a Facebook group. They said, "Hey, I want to go live. Should I promote it in advance?" Yes, and yes. Why? Now, look, I'm not talking about like if you're just going to pop on and you'd probably do this more on Facebook, maybe Periscope, maybe Instagram, and say, you just want to do something live. I do that sometimes with my little dude just to give some updates on his life. If some of you guys follow me, he has special needs, and so a lot of times we share his story. Well, I'm not going to promote that in advance. Hey, Friday night, I'm just going to go live for a few minutes and just chat. Or sometimes I've gone live on Facebook to test out my gear, my light, when I was trying to dial in all these lights and everything like that, which I think Doc thinks I'm on a holodeck. That's from a joke from last night. But I'm talking about if you are producing a show like this or a live stream. And in fact, if you're not live streaming, why not? Remember, there's a link in the description on both our channels to try Ecamm Live, 14 days free. Do it. Just try it and go live with it. You can also record with it. I use it to record as well. But why put any effort and time into doing a live stream and don't tell anybody about it? Now, true, you get a lot of views after the fact. I don't even know how many people are watching now. I don't have that feature turned on. And I typically will get more views after the fact. Sometimes not as many comments, but why not promote it? Now, you can, I think, and correct me if somebody knows, you can correct me if I'm wrong in the comments, as people love to do. But I think you can, on YouTube, you can promote your live stream like 30 days in advance or 28 days in advance. So like right now, if you knew you were going to go live, what is today, Friday? Of course, it's Friday. We do the show on Friday. If you knew you were going to go live next Thursday, why not promote it today? Well, what if people get upset? Well, let them get upset. What? If somebody doesn't want to follow you and watch your stuff because you promoted your live stream, then do you really want them in your community? I'm just saying, between us. Seriously, let people know what you're going to go live about, whether it's just a hangout. Actually, last night, I'm in a TubeBuddy group with Doc and some other folks that Rob Balasabas put together, and it's kind of a TubeBuddy VIP group. And he said, hey, Thursday night, going to do a hangout. Anybody wants to show up, show up. Well, I think that was on a Monday. So even an internal group like that, he, gave everybody a heads up. But don't put the time and effort into your show. And I call them shows. I mean, you call them whatever, and not tell people about it. Now, the beauty is you can schedule it on YouTube and still go live with inside Ecamm. So because this show Behind the Live is multicast on Ecamm's channel and my channel, we actually go through Restream for now. I think one day that'll change. But that's how we do it. And other platforms, you can just go from there to different platforms, right? But we go in, and in fact, one of the things that we did is Ecamm and I do different thumbnails, and we can get into a strategy behind that on another time. But so they schedule it on their channel. I schedule it on my channel. They have different thumbnails, but it's pretty much the same information. And then when I go live through Restream, and it sends it out at the same time. But, I think they typically promote a week out. I promote the week in. Why not? I mean, even when I did my 2,000th subscriber celebration giveaway, which still blows my mind that many people have said, yes, I want to subscribe to your channel. And by the way, if you haven't subscribed to my channel, I'd love you to. And so we can connect that way. But, I promoted it as far in advance. Now, you can also promote it on other platforms too. So, for example, I don't have a lot of traffic on my Facebook page. I just don't do a lot with it. But I always even promote it there as an event. I did promote the 2001 subscriber giveaway thing on my Facebook profile. I'll promote it on Twitter, and I'll promote it different places. But again, if you're going to go through the work, make sure that people know about it. By the way, I think I mentioned this earlier. Queen Bee just said something that's made me think about it. Caleb Volchik. Volchik? Is that right? So I'm giving away a Switch Pod as part of my 2,000 subscriber celebration. This is the most amazing tripod that was ever made by creators for creators. And Caleb, I'm going to look at your note again, Volchik, was one of the co-creators along with Pat Flynn. And if you're interested, there's a link right there, kevincolby.com/swish SwitchPod giveaway. Voishik. There we go. Anyway, it's Caleb. But those are the live stream checklists that I wanted to share with you. And in fact, we've got what are they up to? Saying this is about batteries dying. When the battery dies on your keyboard, right about when you're hit the any key. Yeah, it's a sick feeling. Now the thing is though, see, I always keep this at my desk. So I have a USB powered hub. So at any point I can plug in my keyboard to that. So I still believe that you ought to power things up. But if that one dies, I can quickly plug it in. But with your mouse, it's a little harder to use when it's on the side. But those are the tips. I'm going to run through them again just quickly so you guys can get an idea. But one I would always recommend is don't install updates before you go live. My rule of thumb is it's got to be at least 24 hours. Run a program. I started to say like Clean My Mac. I really don't know of another program like Clean My Mac. It does cost. There's a link. There's my affiliate link down in the description, but it's like $35 for one computer. I run it all the time. And then also use an AC power supply dummy battery, especially only if you're live streaming with a Canon or mirrorless camera. Another one, double check your camera and mic inputs. Because again, some programs will remember the last input. So for example, on the TubeBuddy VIP Hangout last night, I just used my webcam, even though it was tempting. It was tempting. I thought, I'm going to be on there with all these other YouTubers. So should I use my professional camera and talk in my professional voice? Hello, I'm Kevin, and I have a YouTube channel. I thought, no, the heck with it. We're all just friends. And I think almost everybody was there were some guys on their cameras, but I just did my webcam. So if I had been in a program that remembered that then, and you just kind of go live without thinking, it might have called in my webcam instead of this camera. Another tip, put your phone on silent. Trust me, somebody will call. Your mom will want to check on you. Aunt Susie who hadn't talked to you in a month is gonna call. It's gonna happen. Put your phone on silent. Another one. Oh, that is the same one. And charge anything that runs on batteries. You never know when they're going to go out. Again, my rule of thumb is usually I charge it the night before. So like last night, I made sure my mouse and my keyboard have at least 70% power. There's nothing magical about that. I haven't Googled it. I haven't talked to Apple and say, what do you recommend on the percentage? That's kind of my thing. If it's under that, I put it on charge. And promote your live stream. Let your audience know you're going to be there. Now, what if you don't have a lot of people watch? That's a whole different show. You always show up. But those are my tips. And what I would like to know is, do you have any tips? So if you do, drop them in the comments, especially if you're watching this on playback, and say, well, hey, one of the things I do is this. One of the things I do is this, because there's a lot more. And that's why I put together a whole live stream checklist. There's a link below in the comments. There's a link below in the descriptions. Well, in the comments, if I can talk. And if you can just get it if you want it, I'd love to send it to you. And there's a lot more things that I recommend. And again, these are tips that I use before I go live to just try and make sure. I'll give you a bonus one right now, and I did it today. Excuse me. I always do a run through of my show because, I'm going to hold it up and we'll see if it works. Those are all my keys, excuse me, on my Stream Deck, which is not going to focus, but each one of those little lights that you can't see because it's out of focus represents one of the scenes. Like if I want to go to my full screen, I can push that button. So what I do is I load them all in a scene, and then I just do a very, very quick run through just to see if everything's working, because occasionally maybe the animation doesn't play or something like that. And by the way, I think we covered this on the last Behind the Lives from last week. And you can see them all. There's links below. All the animations you've seen me run, including like this one, and let's say this one, those were all created in Canva. Every one of them. That's how cool Canva is. Links below. So anyway, those are the tips to help you get the best out of your live stream before you even go live. I'm telling you, why not be as prepared as possible? If you've got a tip, drop it below, grab my free guide, sign up, maybe you'll win the Switch Pod. It's been fun. Remember to create something today that makes an impact tomorrow. I'm Kevin. Peace out!
Put the needle on the record.